Frank's Red Hot is the perfect blend of flavor and heat, so you can use an entire bottle to make recipes like buffalo chicken dip or buffalo nachos, or even things that don't start with buffalo. Frank's Red Hot, I put that on everything.
Hey, Craig!
It's on you, it's all on me. Can't you see? It's on you, it's all on me. You and me, can't you? It's on you, it's on me.
Hey, Craig. Right or wrong, we don't care. Win or lose, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care.
Hey, Jeff. We got some cool shit to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
Postseason basketball for everyone.
Fuck yeah, it is. Dude.
This is Podcast versus Everyone, episode 162. I'm Craig Powers. With me, as always, is Jeff Nusser. And Jeff,
Yes.
Apparently our basketball teams were estimated higher than we thought they were estimated. Like, holy crap, both of them got higher seeds than we thought.
Yeah.
In their respective, tournaments. And just a great day. Combine that with, we'll talk about a little bit, right as all that was happening, one of the biggest WC baseball wins in a long time. Just an incredible Sunday late afternoon for Washington State athletics.
Absolutely a hell of a day. I know that I was getting a little nervous during the NITs. This is on the heels of the NCAA. Like we were virtually certain that the women were going to make it into their field. It was sort of like, it would have been like a stunner if they hadn't made it in. But they were also sort of projected to be a little bit lower than where they ended up, as you alluded to. So that part was pretty awesome. And then as I'm watching the NIT get unveiled, they did the first two. They don't really call them regions in the NIT. They just call them like the upper left bracket or the upper right bracket, which I thought was just like hilariously silly.
Which is kind of weird because way more than the NCAA tournament, the NIT regionalizes its opponents.
Yes,
because to minimize travel, because they're going to the different sites. So it's kind of weird that they don't just call them regions, But I guess it's because I don't know. It's fun, but whatever.
Probably because it doesn't actually necessarily finish in any one place would be my guess. Like they, just whoever wins, the higher seeded team is going to host until you get to the last four, and and then they go to New York. But anyway, they'd gone through the first two corners or sides of the bracket or whatever, and we had not shown up. And I was like, "Fuck, okay, well, we're halfway through." And then they started going through the next one, and they did the 1 versus 8. And they did the 2 versus 7, and they did the 3 versus 6. And I was like, because going into it, we, all the people who sort of project the NIT. And by the way, like that is tricky. Like the NIT is not quite as predictable as the NCAA tournament. So people trying to predict the NIT, it's a little dicey anyway. And the general consensus was, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say it's very clear, given the results, what the brackets, the two committees are using different standards. I think that's pretty clear.
Even though they were ostensibly supposed to be using the same standards, so it definitely was a little bit strange in that respect. And so we just. If people thought if the Cougars were going to be in, they were probably going to be a low-ish seed, like a 7 or a 6. The 8s were all reserved for sort of low majors who got the auto bids, but like a 6 or a 7. And so when they went through that third bracket, and it was, they had already shown the 6 and the 7. I thought, okay, well, there's one more corner left and with a 6 and a 7 and, you know, and then all of a sudden they popped up 4. And I was like, holy shit. They did it. Oh my God, they did it. It was, I was very excited because I was sitting there working on my story and I'd sort of pre-written half of a, hey, we're in the tournament story because I wanted to be optimistic. And then I was starting to feel like, well, I guess I could tweak it to say, you know, CBI or whatever. And nope, they're a 4 seed. And then the thought hit me, oh my God, they're not just in, they're going to host at least one game. Yeah, pretty crazy, pretty bonkers, pretty exciting. Just what an awesome reward for both of these teams. You know, I guess, you know, we'll talk more about the women. I mean, it's definitely a reward to get in the tournament, not such a reward with their seeding, but yeah,
that one doesn't make any fucking sense to me. But it's just they're so one again. They're in the 8-9. Sure, yeah, cool.
Yep.
You think they're one of the top 32 teams in the country? That's cool.
Yep.
But thanks again for one, and we'll talk about Kansas State in a bit, but like one, pairing us with a really tricky game, and two, pairing us with putting us in the 8-9 game. So the Sweet 16 is, come on, it's pretty much not a possibility. Like I don't. And who the fuck is their second round potential opponent? NC State. They've already lost to NC State by
played.
23 points in the season. I thought we're not supposed to do that. Why aren't they in South Carolina's bracket or Stanford's bracket or UConn's? I mean, not Stanford, but why South Carolina or whoever the other Baylor's bracket? Like what?
Yeah.
What happened there?
Just drop us down to a
drop us to a 10.
Drop us down to a 10. I know they're only supposed to drop one line to try and solve those sorts of issues. So,
but it's so dumb because 8 and 9 are the exact same thing. Like they're exact.
Yeah,
there's nothing different.
Yes, I know. But according to the way I understand it, their bracketing principles, their line principles, or whatever they call them. You know, you're only supposed to drop someone one to be able to, you know, stick with some of those other principles like rematches and stuff like that. And I guess, I don't know. I mean, obviously they wouldn't want to put him in Stanford's region for, you know, same conference and played a couple times already, but yeah, I don't know, man. I assume there's a reason, but you know, maybe not. I don't know. It sucks though. Like we've been talking for weeks about how please just, you know, be a 10 or an 11. Like don't, cause we didn't think they were headed for a 7. That seemed a little out of reach, but, and not that a 7's any different than a 10. So it doesn't actually matter. We were just like, man, be a 10 or be an 11, you know, like just give us a shot at, because in the women's game, it's the difference between the ones, the drop from the 1s to the 2s is just so large. And we got, you know, NC State is one of the, pretty obviously 3 best teams in the country, right? With South Carolina and Stanford. So, you know, if you win the game, and that would be wonderful. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because, I mean, we had this conversation last year too, and then they didn't win. But, you know, you just kind of want to think that you got a chance to make a run. And I don't know. I wouldn't put anything past these guys, but also, you know, you'd maybe like a little bit of a better chance in the next round.
They did not have Johanna Tedder the first time they played NC State. So
yes, that is true.
That is a big deal.
She'll make all the difference.
Yep. Hopefully, you know, 23-point difference. But yeah, I don't.
She could score 23 points.
So at first you're like, fuck, man. Like the end, like it's very clear the committee loves the Pac-12 in women's basketball
year after year.
Because even it's last year. You know, they actually had a higher net going into the tournament than they did this year. Or was it RPI last year? Yeah, it was RPI. But so their net was lower than their RPI last year, but they got a higher seed and they had they had fewer big wins. They had one less big win than they had last year where they had 2 top 10 wins, but they had more just wins overall, and they had more wins over other tournament teams. You know, that Miami win just got better and better and better throughout the season. Miami made a run to their conference tournament championship game. They
lost
went
to
from
NC
a team, which they lost to NC State. They went from the 70s in net. They finished at 42. So that became actually, they don't use quadrants, but they're looking at them in a similar way. That became a top 50 neutral site win that they had on their resume. And then you add that with their Colorado wins and their beating the LA schools, beating Arizona, beating Arizona State. They just had a lot of wins, and they got their respect. And it's cool that the conference respects them, and maybe even just that, the best game they've given Stanford in a long time, open some eyes too. There's teams in the conference that didn't do that well, that were really good, like Utah, who WSU lost twice. But they didn't have a great conference record. I didn't see where they ended up actually. But to give WSU again, a kind of like a top 40, top 32 seeding just says how much the committee respects the conference, respects the schedule that they play. They did play a tough schedule. They got a lot of wins, most wins in school history in NCAA era, most conference wins, tied for second in the Pac-12. Just so many impressive things they did. And that was rewarded with the seed. It's kind of the 8 and 9s, as we've just said, is kind of a backhand reward, right? But still, they think we're better than the 10, the 11, the 10s and 11s out there. I mean, the 11s, actually, one of them was both of them are playing games. So they weren't going to be an 11 seed.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot they went to a 68 team field this year.
Yep. They went 68, which is, it's always weird. Sometimes the 13s are playing games. Sometimes the 11s are. Sometimes the 12s are. Which, when you say they can only move one, it seems like you can move two when it comes to that. But,
yeah.
I guess you're moving one up or down. I guess they say they're 12s and then they move them up or down. I don't know. I don't know. So let me find Utah. Did Utah make it in?
Yeah, they did. They're a 7 seed.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
They're a very good team. They had some tough luck on their games, but they can shoot. Holy shit! We didn't talk about
really good.
We haven't talked about that the Pac-12 tournament game, but it's just WSU.
We were kind of busy last week, man.
Yeah. I'm drinking a glass. I'll say it during the beer segment, but one of my barley wine glass, because I'm drinking a barley wine, but it's made by a company called Permanent Hangover, and after 3 nights in Pullman,
not any old 3 nights.
3 bachelor party nights in Pullman. It took a few days to recover from that. I am not the spring chicken that I once was.
Well, we can tell the listeners that after those 3 days, we came home and we both went to work on Monday, and then we both went to work on Tuesday, and then we went to a Sounders game on Tuesday night. And as we do, we went and we're going to go out before the game. Only this time, we just went and got some pizza without any beer.
To-go pizza, which we scarfed in the car.
Yeah, which we ate in the car. We didn't even bother to go to Flat Stick, which we normally that's usually the routine is we hit up Flat Stick Pub there in Pioneer Square before we go to the game, and it was neither one of us had much of an appetite for a beer that night. So that should tell people a little bit about what Pullman was like if they didn't follow us on Twitter. So,
or see us when we were there,
or see us, yeah, which a lot of people saw us.
Yeah,
we were kind of hard to miss.
Yeah, we had quite a pack.
Yeah, we did,
and it kept growing. Like, it just got bigger and bigger.
You're a very friendly man, Craig. You've lots of friends.
Apparently. Although I will say,
we had people just joining us, hanging out with us. We had Well, let's see. I'll give a shout out to Patrick, podcast listener, who I talked to and got a picture with, and as a student, I did my duty and bought him a pitcher of beer, and there were all sorts of cool people that we met. Luke, we met Luke.
Luke, yep, Luke.
That was
who
awesome.
Sent us a very nice email. Luke, we're proposal twinsies. He beat me to it.
Mm-hmm.
He got engaged in front of Brian Tower, and then went to the Coug after to celebrate. So Luke was the originator of this. He beat me to it. So
It's fantastic.
shout out to Luke. Maybe we could both send our story to Washington State Magazine. They want stories
There
about
you
the Coug.
go. There you go.
We could have our twinsy story. But yeah, that was quite a weekend. That's why we didn't record. We just
That's why.
staying up past
there was
10
that and
like thinking with my brain after like 9 o'clock for like several days after that. It was just not going to happen.
It was basically Wednesday before I started to feel okay. So I was, I'm not a spring chicken either, Craig. So, but it was super cool to like run into all the people who were like, oh, we listened to the show, and it's just that will never cease to make me feel like so cool, because we're just a couple of dopes who, started this because we just, wanted a good excuse to talk to each other about the stuff that we love. And the fact that people like it, I know it's not for everybody, but the fact that some people like it is pretty damn cool. And I'm glad when people come up and say, hey, I listened to the show. That really is awesome. And it feels good. And I hope nobody ever feels weird or awkward doing that. Cause, we're kind of weird and awkward, but it's not definitely not weird to us for people to approach us and say they like it. Cause, that feels great. Feels good to make things that people enjoy.
Absolutely. But now that we've talked about how great we are, let's get back to talking about how great the basketball
how great
teams
basketball is. Yeah.
So we'll preview the games in a sec, or we'll preview the women's game in a sec. But I want to go back to talk about the NIT again. Like you said, just I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think they were going to get a bid. It just, because if they were using the same criteria that the NCAA tournament committee used, no way WSU gets in. And there's no way they're a 4 seed. For example, Ken Palm number 74, Rutgers, not even in the play-in game. Right?
Yeah.
Not even in the play-on game. What was their net? In the
77.
70s as well? 77.
Yes.
They solidly in above Indiana, who was, I believe, in the 40s in net. It's above Dayton, who didn't get in. Sorry, PJ. Sorry for bringing that up, buddy. Just one of the more, like, and Jeff, I know you have, but so on their resume, though, they have a win over Purdue, a win over Iowa, and a win over Illinois. And then some kind of nice mid-range wins over Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan State, Michigan. So it's kind of one of those things where the committee thinks the Big Ten is good. So if you beat the other teams that they think are good in the Big Ten, they give you credit for it. And
surely there's no way that
even though they lost to number 324 Lafayette, number 189 UMass, these are Ken Palm rankings, number 110 Minnesota, those are a 3-point win over number 303 Lehigh. Those are forgotten. The number 77 net rating is forgotten because you beat some teams, and we said it over and over again all year that the big wins matter. And honestly, I think we underestimated in terms of the tournament how big these big wins matter, because they, like Rutgers, again, solidly in, not even in the last 4.
Yep.
I don't think a lot of people even had them in.
The committee has The committee has said over and over, and we've seen this. They want to know if we put you in the tournament. They don't say it this way, but this is really the philosophy. If we put you in the tournament, you better not embarrass us. Right? Like
Right.
You better have proven that you can play with the other teams that we're putting in this field. So they look at those quad 1 wins, they look at those quad 2 wins, and they say, okay, so, Rutgers goes and beats Purdue, right? Great. They beat Purdue at home. They beat Iowa. By the way, they beat Purdue at home by 2. They beat Iowa at home by 2. They did beat Illinois at home by 11. Okay.
And none of these wins are on the road.
Yeah. They won at Wisconsin. So, okay, good. They won at
Also
Indiana
a massively overrated team because of luck. The Providence type,
They
the
beat
Providence
Ohio
of the
State
Big
at home
Ten.
by 2. So the committee is hanging their hat on a 2-point home win over Purdue, a 2-point home win over Iowa, a 2-point home win over Ohio State, and a 3-point win on the road at Indiana.
And I'm guessing that's why they seeded them over Indiana. They're looking at that last one. And maybe that's why we're seeded higher in the NIT over Oregon.
Yep.
Strangely, who has the wins that you would think they like? Oh man.
Well, Rutgers is a great example of what was wrong with our scheduling this year.
Yes.
And I don't blame our coaching staff. I know that it's hard. Like, I know that scheduling is hard in Pullman. So this is not like they should have done something different or whatever. Well, number one, they were really banking on the Pac-12 being stronger. Right. And if you look at the preseason Ken Palm rankings, Oregon and Colorado in particular were supposed to be like top 30 teams. And then they weren't,
Oregon State's supposed to be a top 75 team.
Exactly. Oregon State's supposed to be a top 75 team. They obviously don't turn out that way. And so, all of these, what should have been chances for quad 1 victories, all fell off the radar. So when we say quad 1, quad 2, okay, so quad 1, it's a little bit complicated, but not super complicated. So what the NCAA does, so people have been asking this question over and over and over. And I know you wrote a whole story about net, but just to sort of recap, the NCAA does not use net as a ranking tool, which is very stupid, but is what they do. Okay. So what they use it for is to essentially put teams in buckets. And so they put them in these buckets: quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, quad 4. So you hear people talk about quad 1s all the time. Okay. The simple explanation of a quad 1 is it is essentially a top 50 victory. Okay. Any team that you play on the road that is ranked in the top 50 of net counts as a quad 1 opponent.
Top 75.
Okay. No,
Top 75.
Did I say road? I meant neutral.
Yeah, you meant neutral.
I meant neutral. Sorry.
Yeah.
Neutral. That's where I meant to start. Okay. So top 50 neutral, play them in a neutral site, top 50, that's a quad 1 opponent. Okay. So then you adjust it for, playing at home is easier, playing on the road is harder. So at home, you're talking top 30 teams, and on the road, you're talking top 75 teams, which is not super weird. Ken Palm does the same thing on his site. He has these A games and B games, which are basically the same thing, site adjusted, top 50, top 100 games. So he does the same thing. So this is like totally normal, totally valid, not super weird. Where the weirdness comes in is, some teams have fewer chances at quad 1 wins, and that's what happened to us this year. Because the bottom fell out of the Pac-12, we had 6 quad 1 games all year long. It's just 6, right? Rutgers had 12. And they also had
3 of them.
And so Rutgers had 12. They ended up winning 6 of them.
6 of them.
So
that's right.
Yeah, but they go 6-6. But that's the thing. So we went 0-6. 2 of them we lost by 2 points. Another one we lost by 5, right? To Boise State, whatever that was, 5, I think. So
and one to Oregon was 3 points, right? Was the Oregon one? I can't remember. Colorado.
I'm not sure if it is anymore, but anyway, it's frustrating because what we ended up with, this was the kind of way that I put it to you the other day, was what we ended up with is basically a mid-major resume where they didn't have very many quad one chances. They didn't get them. And we're just like the mid-major who gets left out of every year where we go, that team's pretty good. And then they get left out of the tournament and we're like, oh man, that team totally deserved to be in the tournament. Like, because they just don't get very many chances to pick up those wins. And the few chances they did get, they didn't cash in on. And, who knows? Maybe if we get 6 more quad one games, we get 3 or 4 of them.
And we've talked, you and I have talked, maybe personally, maybe not on this as much, about kind of the silliness of, so a road game against, what do you at UCLA finish in net? They finished 10. So a road game against number 10 UCLA counts the same as a road game against number 75. Like it's
right.
They're both a quad one. So
right.
And then Oregon was 1 spot away. So that win, or that game at Oregon that WSU lost by 3 points, even if they won, definitely Oregon would have been top 75 because they would have been pushed down a little bit. But that wouldn't have been a quad one win because they're number 76. The game at Colorado, number 70, that counted the same as at number 10 UCLA, and because they're putting them in these buckets, and WSU had it won that game, which it lost by 5 to Colorado. It's a possibility that Colorado isn't in the top 75 if WSU wins at Colorado.
Right.
Like
it's all so silly.
It's so silly. Like, and obviously, why is Colorado left out? They're only 1-6 against quad one.
Right.
Net
is this is the part that's so stupid. Net is opponent adjusted, right? So all this stuff you're pointing out that's problematic. Like, okay, playing number 2 Arizona and number 75 Oregon counts the same, depending on if you play them at home or the road, right? But it's like they're clearly not.
But it doesn't count the same in the rankings.
But it doesn't count the same in the rankings, exactly. And so it's like you're doing that, and then figuring the fact that you're putting them in these bins based off of their net. So you're saying, okay, the net is reflective of their quality, but it's only reflective of the quality of your opponents and not reflective of your own quality.
Yeah.
Like, how does that make any fucking sense?
It doesn't make any sense. So it matters that your opponent is ranked number 35, but it does not matter
that you're ranked.
You're ranked number 35. And
unless we're talking about your opponent, then they care that you're ranked 35.
And the stupidest thing of it all, like you said, all this stuff is baked in. Wins and losses are baked in. Like, all of this stuff
Strength
is baked
of schedule is
net.
baked in.
It's all baked in. And then they parse it out. They make it harder for themselves. Like, why are you doing this?
It's so silly. I mean, I do understand it. If you've got
also,
two
how
very
hard is
similar teams.
Yeah.
If you've got two very, very, very similar teams,
I know,
and you're trying to split hairs, fine. But like, if Rutgers is 77 in your net, then how about just trust that maybe they're actually not that good, right? Like, to be inconsistent is, consistency is part of being good, right? Like,
maybe as much as a win over Purdue makes you qualify for the tournament, maybe a loss to Lafayette at home disqualifies you from the tournament. Yeah. Maybe a loss to UMass on the road disqualifies you for the tournament. Like, how come there's no disqualifier in the net? There only seems to be a qualifier, because you could be number 77 and get an at-large bid. How many at-large teams are there? 34. And the 77th team in net got a bid. Like, it's crazy. Like,
meanwhile, Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma, which is a huge outlier in terms of being selected, number 39. They don't make it. And hold on, I'm pulling up their team sheet right now.
They're 4-12 against quad one.
Yeah, they went 4-12 against quad ones, right? I don't know, man. But they're 39. Like, it just, It makes no sense. And I guess I should just be thrilled that they're not using RPI anymore because, that was.
But the funny
worse,
thing is, when they had
still,
RPI,
this is silly.
it was rare you saw a team at RPI in the 70s get in. And so this metric, if they're trying to not look bad, they wanted this to be predictive. This is way more likely to make you look better than RPI, which is not predictive because it only uses wins and losses. This uses efficiency margin, which is far more predictive than wins and losses.
Plus wins and losses, right? So that's why it's a little different than Ken Palm. There's a bonus baked in for winning and losing, which again is sort of like it's all baked in. It's all there. It's all in there.
All there.
It accounts for location of games. Like it.
Why are you trying to eat the sugar and the butter by itself? It's already in the fucking cake. It's not better. The cake is better than the sugar and the butter by itself.
Let me have this raw egg. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. Oh, I don't know, man. It doesn't make any sense, but it's definitely.
How the fuck did this turn into this celebratory podcast turn into a fucking rant about the NCAA
we should probably get back on
committee?
track. Probably get back on track. It does provide kind of where we went was it provides a way forward for the team to think about how to schedule next year. There's plenty of time to talk about that later. So let's talk about Santa Clara, man. This game is going to be fun. This game is going to be fun as hell. I am super excited. And I don't just say that because hey, it's postseason basketball, but because legitimately I think this game is going to be fun. Santa Clara.
We'll point out it's going to be played in front of 15 people. Because the students are on spring break.
Students are on spring break, so
perils of Pullman. But hey, Santa Clara has to fly into Spokane probably and drive down.
Probably
because I don't know if Santa Clara has charters into Pullman. They might. I don't know.
I don't think so.
But Herb Sendek, man, he's back.
Yeah, he is, and he brings a fun as hell offense with him. They are potent. They attack. They have one of the shorter average offensive possession lengths in the country, and they're going to be playing against a defense that makes you work. And so it's going to be a real fun sort of contrast in styles. Their defense is quite bad, so it should be exciting to see what our offense can do and whether our defense can frustrate them. And they've got some players who are. Going to be an interesting matchup for us. They got a 6'6" point guard who's a stud, and he's going to be playing against our 6 foot little people out there on the perimeter. So
I'm guessing on defense,
it's going to be very interesting.
Noah's probably going to check him on defense.
Would assume,
or we're going to play a zone, which we love. Does Herb still play a zone?
I
remember him playing a matchup zone. I'm looking at his defensive profile. They don't give up. I think you pointed out they don't give up a lot of 3-point attempts. So that to me that's they're 29th in 3-point attempt percentage, meaning that they give up the 29th fewest.
Middle of the road in assists per field goal made. So usually with a zone, you see a lot of assists.
Where's their rebounds?
I don't know. I do not know.
Their rebounding percentage is solid. I would say
pretty okay.
I would say they probably don't play a zone, which I know he played at Arizona State. Excuse me. So they're bad on defense mostly because they don't force a lot of turnovers, which is weird for a team that wants to get out and run.
Yep. And especially with as much length as they have. I mean, they've got, Jalen Williams is 6'6". He's there. It says on Ken Palm, it says he's the shooting guard, but he's got the highest assist rate on the team. So I'm going to assume he's ostensibly the point guard.
He's at least the creator.
6'2". Yes.
Yeah, he's the creator. Which, for Coug fans have been watching our team all year. Sometimes a team has a guy that gets the ball and just is meant to make plays for himself and others. We don't have one of those, but you may have forgotten. But they're going to be tough. that any offense like that, it's going to put pressure on our offense to not have a brick fest, which they are prone to do. Hopefully, their 2-point defense is actually pretty good, Santa Clara's. So it may, that also with the caveat that, while they do play Gonzaga and San Francisco and St. Mary's and BYU, there's a lot of riffraff at the bottom of the league. It was Gonzaga's problem for many years. They would have these amazing stats against it's gotten better in WCC. Obviously, they had 3 teams in the tournament this year, and another couple really good ones. But still the bottom of the league isn't very good. So again, Santa Clara is like outside of those top WCC teams, not a lot of like big games on their schedule. That's why you're seeing them here and not in the tournament. But yeah, they very good 3-point shooting team. Don't shoot very many 3-pointers. So given that they're playing our defense, they probably won't shoot very many 3-pointers. Very good interior finishing team. A lot bigger than you'd expect a Santa Clara team to be. Like you said, they have a 6'6" point guard. Pretty good size across the board. This is not a team. This is not going to look like a high major against mid major kind of physical matchup. Is just what I'm gathering. Look at
Nope.
The good thing is their bigs aren't thick, and so that's kind of what gives FA and Mo trouble is when the bigs are a little bit thicker. Their bigs kind of run 225, 215, although one is 6'7", 225, which does mean he's a little thick, but still you can make up for that in the height.
Yeah, and their center runs 6'10", 240. That's not real heavy. Their power forward 6'9", 220. That guy's real good. Josip, I assume it's Josip. Might be Joseph. I don't know. Vrankic. So he's 6'9", 220. He's an excellent player. I assume that's part of how their interior defense is pretty good. They don't block a ton of shots, but being tall obviously allows you to alter some shots. So
I'm gonna have to.
That's part of what's going on.
Obviously, it's only 2 days from now, but I'm curious. May have to look at some games. Just I didn't see many Santa Clara games this year, but Josip, his stat profile is pretty interesting with his assist rate, and his. But he's not. He doesn't shoot outside too much. Doesn't draw a ton of fouls. Like he draws some, but I'm curious to see how he plays. He kind of profiles as a heavy mid-range guy, but he also shoots 59%, so he must get a lot of his buckets inside. But he's also getting all these assists. So what does he do? Fascinating player. Also missed 8 games this year. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to click on Torvik and see where, because he's got it broken down by shot location for players. So I'm trying to see if I can figure out what his deal is. Okay. Here we go.
Also, their off guard
186 shots at the rim. He's got 186.
Okay, yeah, so definitely at the rim.
So almost.
I mean,
all of them.
That's good if that's what he relies on.
Yep.
He's given up 2 inches, and based on his block percentage and his offensive rebounding percentage, he's probably not a big leaper. So probably 2 inches and 10, 15 inches of vertical leap to our bigs. So hopefully that's a guy that
Crafty
can slow
European.
down.
I don't know.
What's
Seems
his
crafty.
what's his Yeah, he definitely did not play as well against Gonzaga, the better teams in their conference. His against A and B and A numbers dipped significantly, and so did his percentage on twos. Maybe they could, slow him down. That seems like a big deal. Prevent him from creating. So maybe if we don't have to double him, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I do love that they have a player named PJ Pipes. Like, what a fucking name that is.
Sounds like a porn name.
I know, right? At this nice Jesuit college, PJ
Yeah.
Pipes.
BJ Pipes.
I mean, they got some
Why do
good
they
names.
call
Like
you-
Kishan.
Why do they call you
Kishan
PJ
Justice,
Pipes? Yeah. Those
Kishan
are good
Justice,
names,
Parker
man.
Braun. Man, this is
Ooh.
a name team right here.
Yeah, I agree. It's classic.
He doesn't play much, but
Yeah.
Cameron Tongue.
Ooh.
What is going on at Santa Clara right now? What is going
Wow.
on?
Wow.
We got Tongue and Pipes. We got PJ Pipes
Woo.
and Cameron Tongue.
Ooh. Keyshawn Justice.
Team
Give him the
only
Justice,
fans right here.
Keyshawn. Ooh. Yeah. Anyway. Ken Palm says we should win 65% of the time, I think, which,
Yep.
you know, playing at home sounds about right, but certainly is not a mortal lock. So should be a tight game, should be a fun game, and in glorious 480p with Zoom broadcasters, as you noted on Twitter. So
Yep. Yeah, I'll see if they send Roxy to Pullman for this, but I'm gonna say no. So we're probably getting
Probably
Roxy Bernstein and Adrian Branch
Adrian
on Zoom.
Branch.
You know, Adrian Branch.
They'll be
who's
calling our games for the 8th time and still won't know who our players
anything.
are.
He'll really love Muhammad Gay. He loves Muhammad
Yeah.
Gay.
He'll
And-
talk about how having a basketball body is
Yep.
what does it mean to have a basketball body?
Yeah, all the poorly prepared guys love TJ Bamba. I
Yes.
mean, there's a lot to love about TJ Bamba, but honestly, like, he comes in and they're like baffled that he's not our superstar.
Yeah. I
Look at this guy.
know.
Also, that going back, because we had talked about it, that dunk he had against Oregon State. It's so
Yes.
funny that a dude that could dunk like that has only dunked
I
it
know.
twice in 2 seasons
I
so
know.
far. Like,
I know. It feels
Let's
like
get
he should
TJ
just
loose.
try more.
yeah, just
Like, that's
try to
he
dunk
just
on
needs to
people.
try
dude.
more. Like, just go dunk on people, man. Just like get up there, try to make it happen. If it doesn't happen, it's okay.
Try to get fouled.
Let's try and make it happen. He is getting better at finishing around the rim, so maybe that's the next
Hey, man,
the next little evolution for him.
107 offensive rating. He's sitting around the same in his 2-point percentage, but he also took a lot more this year. Shot his threes actually worse this year, but shot a lot more of them. So
Yeah.
he's an interesting player. He obviously had turned the ball over. One of the big things about when he drives to the basket, he does not give the ball up anymore. He protects the ball. Last year he was a turnover machine. This
Lots
year,
of turnovers when he'd get into the lane. Yeah.
rare turnovers. That's the big
Yep.
improvement for him on offense. But yeah, so we could talk about we could break down every player if we really want to. But yeah, I don't know
That'll
where
be fun in the off season.
I don't know where Mo is at. We have heard from someone on the team that this team is 14-3 when they have their top 9 points per game guys
It was
available.
11-3.
11-3, and so only 14
out of
games.
33.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's been rare they've had. So hopefully, if they can have Mo, seems like he was pretty hurt. But we were at the game. He got hurt. He just played in the first half, then didn't really play in the second half. And I didn't really see what happened. And I don't know if anyone knows what happened, but it's a bummer. He's been really on the rise, playing a lot better. This is a team that I think he can play that he could have a big game against, because he is going to be the most athletic. Him and FA are going to be the most athletic dudes on the floor, at least in terms of adding in their height. Excuse me.
Yep.
Frog in my throat. I really, they just got to make their fucking shots. Like, don't have one of those stinkers shooting the ball, because this isn't a good it's not a great defensive team. Take care of the ball. There's no reason they should have more than like a 12% turnover rate in this game. Like, Santa Clara doesn't force turnovers. We don't give the ball up that much. Don't give it up. Like, just don't do it. And then on the other end, Santa Clara also doesn't give the ball up. So that's going to be we rely on that defensively. Hopefully not a game where we have to use a zone all the time because they do have good shooters. They just don't shoot very often. Let's not entice those good shooters into shooting. I would prefer they do not shoot those 3-pointers.
Yeah.
Go inside to where we have the giant dudes and they block your shots.
I like our chances to win handily if Mo plays. Like, to me, that's sort of the key. Like,
can lock down
if Mo
that
plays,
inside.
Yeah, if he plays and we've got a full 3-man rotation up front, to be able to sort of send those waves at Santa Clara's interior, I love our chances, and I think we could actually win fairly handily if we are full strength. So who knows how close Mo really was to playing against UCLA. But he apparently did warm up and then put sweats on. So hopefully that means with almost another, I don't know, whatever it is, another week of healing almost, that's enough to get him back on the floor. Cause I sure would love for us to be able to finish the season playing with a full strength roster. It was a major bummer to, I think the gap between us and UCLA is pretty sizable, but at the same time, I sure would have loved to find out how we'd play with our second best player, which he really is at this point. Playing in the game. So, hopefully he's healthy. I hope so. Cause he would make, I think, maybe all the difference really.
Yeah. Doesn't have the block percentage of the other two bigs, but by far the best big in terms of on-ball defending, perimeter defending, just the most versatile defender we have on the team. And then his offensive game has just gotten
a lot of passes.
Yeah, it just such quick hands. Like just
he just bothers a lot of shots.
Yep.
Like he doesn't get all the blocks, but he bothers a ton of shots.
He's a guy that if there was like a PFF of college basketball, will get really good grades on defense. And he's improved on his team, like his spacing awareness. He had some trouble with that earlier in the year, but he's become a much better team defender. And then when he switches on to a guard, he's good. Like he's fine. Like he's got quick feet, he's got quick hands, and then he's got the length to bother any shot they take. So really hope we can have him because one, he's just incredibly fun to watch play basketball, and he's just gotten so good, so much more confident in himself as the season's gone on. He's been super fun to watch progress. It'd be a real bummer if it just ended, after 2 awesome dunks against Oregon, and then it was just done. I don't know. It'd be really cool if they won. It'd be super fun.
Yes.
We got to take them. We got to take that West Coast coverage down a peg. All right.
Yes.
Like they're
a little too big for their britches right now.
Exactly. You had a good season. All right. We got to take you down. And there's this is a bit like the tournament of the Pac-12. There's quite a few Pac-12 teams in this tournament, but to be able to take down, the team that finished third in the WCC, which also, both conferences had, both conferences had 3 teams in the NCAA tournament, and then the Mountain West had 4. So I don't even know. I think the Pac-12 is still the deepest on the West Coast, but we need those top end teams to show out. And so this is a battle of teams that maybe could have done just a little better to get there, which is what the NIT is about. And I hope it should be fun. Like you said, like it is a bit of a clash of style. As long as we can take care of the ball and, make it tough, make it tough for them to push the ball in transition. I like our chances to slow them down the half court and bother them in interior. We should, we've done a terrible job on the defensive glass as the season's gone on. This is a game where I think we could see some improvement there. as long as the whistles are fair, there shouldn't be a ton of free throws at all in this game. So that'll be interesting to watch as well. So it should be a nice, entertaining game to watch. So I'm looking forward to it. As you said, in 480p on my fucking really expensive damn TV that I bought to watch Cougar sports. So that'll be fun. 8 p.m. I love the 8 p.m. games because that's after I put my 4-year-old to bed, and so
Yes.
got all the daddy duties done and just watch a game. But yeah, let's take a break and we'll come back and we'll preview the women's game against Kansas State.
Back.
I lied. Let's talk about beer. So
What? This is such a shock.
So Jeff, you are drinking again, right? Like, or I know we were never drinking again, but we are again.
Yes.
So what are you drinking then?
I am having the Revision Darkling, which is an imperial stout by Revision Brewing Company. So it says on the can, the progenitor of our good Lord. Let's try this again. The progenitor of our stout series, Darkling is smooth and velvety in texture with notes of milk and dark chocolate balanced with hints of rich espresso. And I can confirm that it is all of those things at a nice 10.5% ABV. It is silky smooth. And I do love the imperial stouts that are, got a little bit of that chocolate, a little bit of that coffee, because I do love coffee. And this is a delicious way to celebrate. Nice big beer for a nice big day of Cougar sports. Not as big as your beer, but pretty big.
Pretty big.
Big-ish.
I love that word progenitor. That means this is their base stout. That this is their base stout that they make all their pastry stouts from, that they do their barrel aged stouts from. So big ups from a couple writers, to use that word. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent work.
Yeah, good job, Bruce. By the way, you mentioned pastry stouts. So you are way obviously more in tune with beer trends than I am, but like pastry stouts appear to be making a comeback.
I don't know
if they ever really went away, but
no, they never left. They've only increased in popularity.
Maybe that's it, because I'm like seeing way more of them now, right now in the last month
it's
or
just
so.
More breweries.
Okay, maybe that's it. Because I've seen a ton of them in the last month. Like there's like a whole fridge at Rainier Growlers with them now, and I'm like, it wasn't that way 2 months ago. So
they're incredibly expensive to make. Like to make that big of a stout, like like a 12% stout, they're usually right around 12 to 14%. It's a lot of expensive malt, and then you're adding in all the adjuncts and stuff. They're really expensive beer to make. So a lot of breweries, they had to be in a better place to start making beers like that, and then know that it will sell. So they kind of had to see that there was a market for these massive beers that they have to charge quite a high price for. And it's same, that's what happened with barrel aged stouts, what happened with hazy IPAs, everything like that, because all that stuff, they had to learn how to do new things. They had to invest in different malts. They had to invest in barrels and things like that. These are things that you see certain breweries do, and then this is like a part of your journey, Jeff. Now you see things because you're paying more attention to the beer. You see them when just a few breweries are doing them, and then there's always this second wave where every fucking brewery is doing it, and that's where we are with pastry stouts now. Like every fucking brewery is making pastry stouts.
That makes sense.
Just like a couple of years ago, it was every fucking brewery is making hazy IPAs. Now it's pastry stouts. It's the pastry sours too, the fruited sours. The fruited what we call kettle sours, Berliner Weisses and stuff. So that we're seeing that now. The breweries that aren't on the bleeding edge, that are just kind of waiting to see that they can actually make money on something are, they're coming in and doing it. And so I think that's why you're seeing the pastry. This one, not a pastry stout. This is just a classic fucking big ass stout.
Yeah. And it is delicious. By the way, not the best beer I've had today. The best beer I had today was, for my birthday, today's my birthday. For my birthday,
Happy
I had,
birthday, Jeff Newser. Happy 29th birthday, buddy.
Yeah. 29 plus 16. Anyway, made a brisket overnight and decided I was
my best man is so old. What the fuck?
I know. Man. I had a hell. Is it okay? So how do I pronounce it? Is it Hellas lager?
Hellas.
Tell me how Hellas. Okay, so I had a Hellas lager from Freem, which was absolutely spot on and totally delicious.
That's what Freem does.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect to have with some barbecue.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Love me a good Hellas lager.
Yeah, they had them at Rainer Growlers, not from Costco. They had them at Rainer Growlers.
Perfect. Is Revision from Costco?
No.
Is there
also from Rainier Growlers?
Jeff has been driving into town.
I stopped on my way home from school on Friday. Picked up some beers.
Hellas Lager, truly, like, if you can have a good Hellas Lager on like a bar, like you said, a grilling day or something, nothing's better. Like, that is just a perfect fucking grilling beer. Hellas Lager. It is made for that.
I was extremely impressed and would love to get more of those.
Yeah. Did it come in the bottle?
No, it was
or a can.
Yeah, pint can.
Freem does pint cans now? I've never seen a Freem pint can.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes.
The game has changed.
Yes.
That's sick, dude. I'm gonna have to get that. I'm gonna crush. Oh my god. My favorite one, by the way, and I think I've talked about it. Wayfinder Hell. That beer is perfect. That beer is incredible.
Yep. I've had that too. Yep.
Yeah.
That's an awesome beer.
But I'm sure that Freem, Freem's is just as good. Because it is spectacular. If Freem does anything, they execute everything to style absolutely perfectly. And for a Hellas Lager, that's all you want. Just execute it, and it fucking rules. Yeah.
Yep. It was awesome. So I'll maybe I'll stop by Rainer Growlers and see if they still have some. They had just gotten them in on Friday. It was funny. Like, I went to buy it and they hadn't even put it in their system yet. So I was gonna maybe go and try and pick up a bunch and maybe get you a couple.
I'm stoked on this because hell is harder to find. But if Freem is making tall boys, they're not going to be hard to find. Those are going to be easy to find. Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Because Freem Pilsner Freem Pilsner is elite as well.
Also,
Freem makes that damn good, easy drink of beer, and also a lot of other good beers. Love me some Freem.
Yep.
Amanda's doing her bachelorette party in Hood River. They probably won't go to Freem.
Probably not.
But they're going there for whitewater rafting. But if we were there, we would go to Freem.
Yeah, we would. We absolutely would.
Actually, Marnie might make them go to Freem. Let's be honest.
There you go. All right, so your beer is bigger than mine, which it's pretty normal.
Yeah, it is big. Holy shit! I had looked at the ABV. I just grabbed it. It is. So this is from Ecliptic Brewing in Portland. Just a solid fucking brewery that doesn't get talked about a lot, but again, just makes a ton of great shit. And I love their barley wines. And this year they always make barrel aged Orange Giant, but this year they did 2 different barrel treatments to it. They did their regular bourbon and also a rye, and I'm drinking the rye. I love me a rye whiskey. The harsher notes. You're not getting you're not getting coddled like a bourbon with those vanilla and caramel notes. No, you're getting punched in the fucking face with the rye, and I love it. It comes out in this beer. This is not as sweet as your typical Orange Giant. It is much. The barrel is there, and this is also pretty fresh for a barrel aged beer. It's from December. So many of the notes. It is so good. I'm like hyped, and plus like I'm halfway through this bottle and I'm feeling it. But it is 15%. 15%. I'm taking down this 500 milliliter, 16.8 ounce bottle. It is so good. It's got a nice like 15%, but also kind of like too crushable of a body for that. Like, why is this that easy to drink? Like they're trying to make it harsher with the rye, but also it's kind of easy to drink. But it's 15%. Like they're trying to kill me. It's so good. Like I love rye whiskey, and I love a good rye whiskey like stout or a rye whiskey barley wine. I love when they age them in those. They're harder to find. Obviously there's not nearly as much rye whiskey made as bourbon. And I don't know if rye whiskey has the same kind of bourbon. There's so many barrels because one of the stipulations of bourbon is you can only use the barrel once, and it has to be a first use barrel. So I don't know if rye is the same way. It probably is. I know there's like 50 people screaming at the fucking their dials right now, like, yeah, you did, of course. Because I do the same thing when I listen to my podcast. But I heard a podcast discussing the Doors versus Wheels thing earlier today, and I was fucking losing my mind. Like, well, think of this, think of that. We're not going to talk about this on podcast because I love you and I don't want to do that to you.
My students were having some fun with that at school. On
oh my god,
they were. You know what though? Hey, they were reasoning it out. I think that's good.
Also, shout out to
think through all the possibilities.
The podcast I was listening to, Block Party, shouted out Flagrant Mag, who their tweet kind of blew up for it. Sierra, who we've had on the podcast, obviously Emma produces the Flagrant podcast, and then Sierra is the social for Flagrant. So shout out Sierra, way to crush it on that one. But yeah, so this, I'm sorry guys, I'm babbling because I'm telling you, I'm drinking a 15% beer that drinks like I don't know, like a 5% beer. Like this is bad news. Go buy it. It's if you just want to like the most chuggable 15% beer, rye barrel aged Orange Giant, Ecliptic Brewing. Holy shit. Beautiful label too. Ecliptic always does these like really like kind of like holographic type labels. It's so pretty. Great brewery. And you know what in honor of the bachelor party, Jeff, you know what my sidecar beer is tonight?
No.
So I came home. So just here's a hint. Amanda bought a bunch of beer for Chris's friends because they were having his birthday on the Friday when I was in Pullman. And none of them, and all of them ended up meeting them at the bar, so they didn't actually drink at the house. So we have a bunch of this beer, not a beer I would typically have in the house, but one we drank a lot of in Pullman.
We drank a lot of Coors Light.
Yes, I have a Coors Light, and I have a lot of fucking Coors Light right now. I got like 2 cases of Coors Light in my house, so cheers,
attaboy.
So because none of those people came over. They just met him at the bar. So I came home to like 3 pizzas and had pizza for lunch for a week. And then I have 2 cases of Coors Light as well. So yeah, that's my next beer if I make it there. But let's, now that we've talked about beer and how great beer is, and let's talk about Kansas State, specifically one player, one terrifying fucking player. Why?
I seem to recall that.
Why?
I seem to recall that. Who did we play last year? South Florida, right?
Yeah.
I seem to recall that they had a player who was sort of
they had
terrifying.
a couple, but they have. It was a big too. They had 2. I don't know if sometimes, but it was a big. Yeah, like.
And it was like, shit, man, this is like not a great matchup. And I know that, like, look, if you're playing an 8-9. In theory, you should be very even, right? So I mean, it's not like I'm.
Yeah, they're not like
somebody to be like not good or something. But it's
they're
also
19 and 12. They're not a fucking powerhouse. Like,
like why do they have to have like this terrifying player who scored 60 points in a game this year? Like, Why does that have to happen? It's it's like, come on, man. Like if there's any one thing that gives us trouble, it's a dominant big. Like, God damn it.
So, Ioka Lee, I think she goes by Yoki, from what I've seen on like social and stuff. In just the counting stats, the per game averages 22.4 points per game. She scored 61 points in a game like a month ago against Oklahoma, like a very good team. Probably the reason why they got a 9 seed. 61 points in a game. She shoots 56% from the field, 10 boards a game, 3 blocks a game, 1.2 steals a game, only turns it over 1.4 times a game, hits 76% of her free throws. She is fucking terrified. She's 6'6".
She averages a double-double. A double-double. She averages a double-double.
She's insane. Like, she's so good. Like, she's so good. Let me get into her advanced stats. Her defensive rebounding percentage, 25%, 11% offensive rebounding. So she's just killing you on both ends.
93 blocks.
7% turnover rate, 7%. Like a big who's working out of the post.
And
she's almost 10%
blocks a game.
Almost 10% block rate.
This is so
does not get to the foul line that much. So that is like, that's good. That's like, because the worst thing that could happen is Bella gets 2 quick fouls, and we like Jessica Clark has made a lot of improvements this year. She's overtaken Eminent Curvis, but still the drop off between Bella and Jessica and Emma is big. Bella is our best defensive player. She is so good defensively, and she's become very important offensively. If she's having to defend Lee and, you know, gets in foul trouble, things could get hairy. You know, and then like, you know, sometimes we throw Charlize at the bigs just because she's athletic and strong. I don't want Charlize guarding this woman. Like it's crazy. So she has a 117 offensive rating. Her hoop stats is defensive ratings too, and hers is 77, which is really good. Win shares are off the charts. They do a lot of the like NBA type stats here. But she's really good, and she's going to be a problem. And then she is very much the focal point of their offense. But they do have a guard, Serena Sandell, who is very good as well. She's 20% usage. She is a pretty good shooter, 35% from 3, 36% really. Not a great interior player, but she can kill you from outside. Good free throw shooter. Gets to the line a bit. So you know she'll be tough to guard. She is. Let me get her height real quick. That matters. Come on, they don't have. Come on, her hoop stats. Where's her height? Why don't I have her height? Like that's such an important thing for a player. How come her height's not on here? Like what the hell?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, like come on. I mean, we do have big guards, so like guard height, unless it's like Stanford 6'6" guards, like I'm generally not worried about it.
Yes.
We do have like tall guards, and you know that's usually a positive for us. So yeah, but you know, overall Kansas State pretty solid defensively with, you know, interior obviously because of Lee, offensively largely because of Lee. They've had some big wins, but really their big wins are akin to our big wins. You know, so as scary as Lee is, they still aren't a great team. They played a tough schedule, so did we. So it's just, you know, what I would really love, and what we'd all love to see, and we know she has it in her, and she's had a lot of rest, which she didn't have last year, is Charlize to just fucking go nuts in a big game again.
Yes.
and
Yes.
just bury them. Like she's due for another bit. You know, she had hers in Colorado, and she's just due for it, man. Like I remember that the travel at the end, like the travel at the end of the South Florida game last year in the tournament.
Yep.
She turned it over when we had a chance to tie the game. I bet she does too.
Yeah.
And this team is deeper. It's better than it was than that team that played South Florida last year. Her supporting cast is better. Yo is better. Bella is better. Ula is better.
Her sister is better.
Crystal is better. Tara is better than whatever we had coming off the bench last year, especially after Sherilyn left. So Tara is a player that could be huge in this game, because if Bella gets in foul trouble, maybe Tara plays defense on Lee. Like maybe we go small, and just put Tara in there. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. If you look at net, they are. Well, do you have it up, Jeff?
I do.
Let me hold on. Let me scroll. They were. I think at the. Oh, I'm looking at the men's. They were. Damn it, where'd it go? No, not there.
So they finished 37th.
37th, which
Yep.
were 60, 59, 60. Where are we?
59.
58.
I think is where
58.
they ended up.
58.
58, yeah.
So, but here's the thing: like 41 UCLA WCB, 47 Arizona State WCB, Colorado 29 WCB. They beat Arizona 19. They beat Gonzaga 25. They've beaten teams of this quality, and all those teams
Yes, they
have
have.
scary ass players on their team. All of them do. Like every Pac-12 team they beat has an elite player like this that dominates. Now she is maybe a little bit of an outlier, but you know what? They're a really good defensive team, and Cammie's a great coach, and they're maybe they can figure something out. It's not like
Well,
when
I
they're
would
playing.
assume-
I'm gonna say it's not like when they're playing Oregon and Stanford and Arizona, where it's that person and then like 5 other players on the floor who are mismatches for our
right.
defense.
Right. Who are going to punish you if you devote too much attention to one player. I would assume they'll try to figure out a way to essentially keep her shot volume down. I think that's that'll be the goal. Obviously,
Got a defensive
everybody will
rebound.
Try to do that.
Got a
but-
defensive rebound.
Yeah, and
Got it.
maybe if this was last year, I'd be a little more worried. Obviously it's sort of like terrifying to play a team that's got one superlative player, but at the same time, with the strides that Bella has made, she's gotten better as the years got along at staying out of foul trouble. She's a defensive force. She's not going to be as big as this woman is, but at the same time, she's fairly sizable and can, at least affect some shots. And, and she's a legit, Bella, we've talked about this, like she's a legit offensive force now. And, there's,
She can draw fouls. Like she could draw fouls.
I was going to say it's entirely possible that she gets her in foul trouble,
Yeah.
So,
Or Charlize driving to the basket.
Yep. So,
Because Charlize is very good at getting her body into bigs.
yeah. I
and
like it.
drawing
Maybe
fouls.
they can run some things where they get some switches and, can maybe try and draw away from the basket. I don't know if, what kind of defense Kansas State plays, but, I do know this. Kemi Etheridge is a really good coach, and, whatever plan of attack is best, they are going to devise, and, the team's going to have an excellent chance to execute in a way that puts them in a really good position to win. We know that's going to happen. So, very exciting.
Let's overall, Kansas State, not a good 3-point shooting team. We are a pretty solid 3-point shooting team. We also shoot a lot of them. They don't shoot a lot of them. That could be, something that swings who cares? You got a big down low that's scoring on you, but if you're getting 3 on the other end, it doesn't fucking matter. Like it's, WSU really has improved. We've improved our 3-point shooting this year. 32% as a team is very good. I think it's top. Let's see where we at. 3-point percentage. Yeah, 106 nationally. Which how many we shoot? That's pretty good. We shoot a lot of them. We're 70th at 3-point rate. But yeah, it's and they're by the way, they're 165th in 3-point rate. So they're not shooting nearly as many threes. Why would you? If you have that force
Yeah, exactly.
inside.
Like, don't shoot threes, just throw it in there and let her go to work.
Yeah. So it's a interesting thing. So just raw points per play. Her hoop stat says Kansas at 0.83, and that's 87th. We raw points per play that must not be points per possession. I don't know, because we're at 0.78. Like that, those are low. That seems low. But okay, points per possession, we're 91, just raw, and they are 94. So neither team offensive juggernaut. But yeah, it should be interesting. We have a good defense, there is a scary player, and you're like, why the fuck do we have to play a 9 seed with this? Like, she must be like one of the top bigs in the country. But you know what? We're in the NCAA tournament, and every team has good players. They have to play Charlize Ledger-Walker, so they're probably like, why do we have to play this like 5'8" guard? That's fucking insane. But yeah, I don't know. I'm stoked for it, man.
Yeah.
I obviously, I just was in North Carolina. I got friends there. Amanda was kind of like, she was like, oh yeah, you should go. You should definitely go. But then she like immediately was like, no, I'm not. I'm joking. I'm working that week. You cannot go. But then I looked at the flights. It's like $1,300 to fly out for the weekend. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. I love y'all, but that is a
long ass flight. Yeah, that was kind of a bummer. It would have been nice if they could have kept him somewhat local.
And then our one Kook Center representative in North Carolina has to work that day. What the hell?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he can get out of it.
I hope so. I'll buy your tickets, Jesse. I'll buy your tickets.
There we go. I like that.
Let's see if he listens to this. I'm not going to say it in the Slack. I'm just going to say it here and see if he listens.
Yeah. Eventually see if he pops up in the Slack and is like, hey, I want my tickets.
Yeah. That'll be one of those, shit. Call my bluff. But yeah, that's not a bluff. I will. If you go, I will. But yeah, it should be cool, man. Like, this team has just, we talked about at the start of the season. We didn't know if they could replicate what they did last year. And they went beyond it. Yep. Like, they were more consistent. Instead of finishing the season kind of out of gas, they finished it strong. They got some of their they played themselves into the tournament in the last couple of weeks of the season. It's so cool. Yeah. So instead of coming into this,
I like their chances of doing some damage here than I did last year. Last year just felt like house money, right?
Yep. And I want them to so bad. Because we've done this before. I mean, getting to 2 straight after you've only been to 1 ever is so cool. And at this point, like, let's do it again next year. Let's do it again the year after. But yeah, it's just to you like in your brain, you're like, 1, let's get that 20th win. Like 20th win, how cool would that be? 2,
super cool.
Let's do something we've never done before and win an NCAA tournament game. They've never done that. Yeah. So this team has been making history for 2 straight seasons, and they have more history to make. And I'm excited. To me, this is probably a coin toss of a game, which it should be. It's an 8-9. And I'm excited to watch it on Saturday. Have they got the time yet?
Not that I've seen yet, but maybe it's
Yeah.
out there.
Why would they not have it? Come on. I'm assuming it's on ESPN. I get like a lot of women's tournaments on ESPN.
Yes. Yeah,
Hopefully
I think all the games
in
are.
1080p. I don't know.
Yeah, I think all the games are in various on their various properties. So
Let's see. I'm gonna look at the women's schedule real quick for the people listening who don't feel like looking it up themselves. See if they have it on there yet. They do not. I am not surprised. Go Cougs. But yeah, what a cool thing to get to talk about this team in the tournament again. After, it honestly didn't. We talked about a month and a half ago. They had a lot of work to do, and they did it. Like, they got there. They've done amazing things along the way. They finished tied for second in the conference. Most wins in conference, most wins total in the NCAA era. Just incredible stuff. It's fun to be here and watch it unfold. But yeah, one more thing we got to talk about is baseball also getting a massive win.
woo.
Like, what the
Yeah.
heck?
Well, it's good. I mean, Oregon State played Oregon State, 4th ranked team in the country. First game was a blowout. Second game was a little closer. Third game, walk-off win. How about that?
Yeah. That's the thing about these kind of series in baseball when you're playing like a juggernaut. And even if you're at home, if you're kind of an up-and-coming team, getting one is huge. Like, getting one of these games is huge. If you get swept, that looks bad. But if you get one on the ledger, and plus, first time they beat a top 5 since 2013, I think I saw.
Yep. I think that's right.
So yeah, baseball.
We've been pretty non-competitive in those games.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Pretty excited to see them. Friday was non-competitive, at least in the sense of the final score. But you could see a little bit of that. I want to say that Oregon State scored, I think, 8 in the first inning on Friday.
Yes. Yep.
And then, the starter, as sometimes happens in these kinds of series, he kind of stays in there to, kind of take one for the team, right? Where, you've gotten shelled a little bit. We're not gonna exhaust our bullpen on a game that, more than likely is already decided. And so, instead of that, they leave the starter in, and the starter settled down. I don't think he allowed a run in the second, third, or fourth inning after kind of getting smacked around in the first. So, good bit of experience there, and kind of Saturday was a little bit, they were behind, but kind of nip and tuck. Felt like maybe they had a shot. And then to keep it real tight on Sunday and pull one out. You escape. The big difference, as weird as this sounds, it's a huge difference, right, between 1-2 and 0-3 when you're talking about standings. So
yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
Good. Pretty
and then
good.
just having that on the ledger, if you're trying to get to postseason play, like, having that on the ledger is a huge deal.
Yep.
I'm hoping they can have a big year. I now own 11 different WSU baseball hats. If you're counting the old school skinny W that Sport Town of Colfax sells, and then the new one, which I was able to procure 5 different styles of, including a gray and anthracite. When I brought home and showed my fiance, said, "These are not different," and I said, "Yes, they are." There's
Yes,
the
they
white with the gray W and the gray bill, and the white with the anthracite W and the anthracite bill. They look completely different to me.
Totally.
And if you're talking WC football Saturdays, if we're playing, maybe we'll bust out a white helmet with an anthracite logo. Maybe we'll bust out a white helmet with a gray logo. I need to be prepared for both situations. And now I am. 11 different WC baseball hats. Let's get some W's so I can proudly wear those. I'm wearing the skinny W. You have this one now, which I was able to get for you.
Yes.
You have the color that I'm wearing now, but in the new one. So I'm wearing the old school
Yeah.
skinny W with the crimson and the gray W, but yours is sharp, man. I was pretty jealous of that. But the funny thing is, like, I
love
could have
it.
I could have taken it because it's big. It fits me.
You could have. It would fit you. It would fit you. They're all about like one size bigger than,
Yeah.
so as you're
So
asking
if
me
you
what size,
are-
I'm like, 7.5.
Yeah. If you are able to, for
7.5
cool-
is just a little bit too big. Yes. If you
So
do
I-
find them, these Nike fitted hats, get size down.
Yeah. So I was able to get them through that. They did the WC Virtual Baseball Clinic, which was coincided with the WC basketball game against Arizona, in case you missed it. But I was able to get them through that. I was able to pick them up when we were in Pullman for the bachelor party, and then I was there with my buddy Kalen, and they were like, "Oh, do you want a tour?" And we're like, "Sure." And man, that new facility is sharp. Like, it is so nice. Like, it's not as expansive as the football room, but they got a weight room in there. It's not their main weight room, but it's one they can just do, quick weights on. Beautiful locker room that goes right out to the field, which, if you know anything about WC baseball, that is a big fucking deal. Like,
Yes.
they're grabbing their cleats and their helmets and their gloves and their catcher's gear out of cubbies on their way out to the field. They have all that right there. They have this classroom with these great TVs, a little lounge area. It's a beautiful facility. Just really well done. Incredible that they got that built. And yeah, I think, I asked, they're like an intern there, what do you think this does for recruiting? She says, oh yeah, it's like, the recruits come, it's such a big difference. And I'm sure it is, because that's their home. Right. And so to have a home like that is way nicer. As someone who, went to a high school and played baseball, where, our field was like a short drive away. Like, we had to like drive down the hill to get to it. I know what it's like to have to like travel in cleats from the locker room to your field.
No fun.
It's not fun. So 100% difference to be able to have that nice place. It just looks great. So sharp. Really well done. Good branding. Man, that new W is on like every chair. It's on everything. The brand is strong. Really well done. And then I was able to pick up all those hats. So I'll be well branded with it as well. I'm excited for that. But yeah, and hopefully, they to be able to win a game like this, against a team that's not going to lose a ton of games, not going to lose very many games this year. That was only their second loss out of 13 so far. That's cool, and hopefully they can keep it rolling. Yeah,
It's pretty good.
All right, man. Well, I cannot believe here we are under an hour and a half, and we had 2 basketball games to talk about. Wow, we still must be feeling the bachelor party, is all I can say.
We did.
So if you want to, email us like Luke did, podcast versuseveryone@gmail.com. We love the emails. I'm at the Craig Powers on Twitter. I'm at Craig W. Powers on Instagram. Every time I say that, someone follows me, so I'm just going to keep saying it.
There you go.
So at pod versus everyone for Jeff's rants and raves. And I think that's it. That's all. And what I have to say to you is, Jeff, go fucking Cougs.
Go fucking Cougs, Craig. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Still go get vaccinated.
Get boosted.
That too.